Hi there, everyone. I'm here to read another one of my stories. This one I wrote in the first one was about 30 minutes. Second one, maybe 45. I'll be reading the second one today, and the title as it is right now, it's not a real title, I don't think yet. It's called As I Watch the World End. Now, this is a little different than what I normally like to write. So it's going to be a little different than the King Dave and King Pete story. But hopefully you'll enjoy it, and I'll say once again, I'll make mistakes while I'm reading out loud. It's just something I have issue with. Alright, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy. As I sat in my room on the second floor in an apartment building located in Texas, I could watch the devastation of Washington, D.C., Salt Lake City, and New York City. I knew at any time Dallas would be hit soon. I stood up and looked out my window. I could see the emergency helicopters airlifting people to the safe bunkers several miles out of town. I knew that I could not go. I, like many others, were illegal immigrants and not allowed access to the bunkers, left to die like dogs. I could hear screaming from the second floor below, and when I looked up I could see what they were screaming at. A large bright light was in the sky that was trailed by a burning trail. There was nothing to be done. I propped my seat in the corner and silently waited for the end to come. The ground shook and I could hear a thunderous crash. The television and lights went out and I could see a wave of rushing air heading towards me and through my window. My breath got heavy and I sat back hard in the seat. I closed my eyes and gripped my hands over the armrests of my chair. Seconds later, everything went dark. I awoke, seeing the sky that had changed to a light red color. I was dazed and confused, and wondering why was I not dead. I tried to stand, only to find my left leg missing. The wound did not bleed. It had been charred over, and no pain came from the missing limb. The roof had been blown away, and the first floor had collapsed. I was still in my seat, and I tried to get out. The only way I could get out was to fall right out. I fell forward to find myself falling 8 feet into the first floor. I climbed out on my belly, trying to get out of the building. The woods and rocks from the building stabbed into my stomach. Just before I got out of the building, I found a crutch laying in the rubble. I placed the crutch under my arm and started to walk forward. I looked up at the sky and thanked God for giving me a second chance to save myself. The road was covered in rubble and in some parts not even existent. That was not going to stop me. I shoved my crutch into the ground and headed down the road. No tall buildings remained standing in the city. Only large piles of rubble remained. My vision started to blur and then quickly returned to normal. My tongue was dry and hard, and my skin felt cold and scaly. At times I would get dizzy and fall to the ground, where I would lay for several minutes before getting back up and continuing. Once out of the city, I could not see any trees, grass, flowers, or animals, only a bare wasteland. My breathing was getting heavy, and I could no longer see clearly out of my right eye. Finally, I could make something out in the distance. It was one of the shelters, a large concrete building that covered the real shelter deep underground. It still took several hours of walking to get to the entrance. I could see helicopters that once flew people to the shelter, now laying in ruin, tossed all over the place. I found the door, and next to it was a button that looked like a speaker box. I pressed the button and started to yell, "Please, you must let me in. I am in dire need for medical help. I am a survivor. I waited for several minutes, every second feeling like an hour, when finally a voice replied, "I'm sorry, we cannot let anyone in. It would risk everyone in the shelter. Rest easy, my friend." And with that, the voice was gone, and I was alone. I could no longer hold on to what. Hold on. Oh, let me try the sentence again. I could no longer hold on. With that, I dropped to the ground and lay there till death's cold grip would take me. The one thing I held dear was the thought that I would be whole again in heaven. Well, there you go. Please let me know. I've got other videos on my channel at if you just look up Poor Man 369, you can find me talking to myself. One half of another story I've written. I mentioned earlier, King Pete and King Dave. My ways to die in World of Warcraft, and the first trial of a day in the life of a gnome. Please let me know how you enjoyed this story and tell me what I can change. Honestly, well, have a nice day.